Guys, you're welcome to another edition of the Wave series where we are discussing the Waves blockchain, the tools and features that are on the blockchain to help you build your own dApps and write smart contracts with the right programming language. Today we are talking about the Waves network protocol, and we are talking specifically about the Waves node. So today you'll be learning what is the Waves node. It is a software that is responsible for receiving transactions, creating and validating blocks, synchronizing data between different nodes, and reaching consensus between them. All right, so for every transaction, every activity and data manipulation that happens on the Waves blockchain is controlled by the Waves node. All right, now on the Waves blockchain, the Waves node does a lot of validation, and this validation includes, it ensures that the format of the block on the blockchain is correct. It ensures that all hashes in the new block are computed correctly. It also ensures that the new block contains the hash of the previous block. Remember that blockchain is a continuous chain of blocks that are linked together with cryptography. So every new block that is mined on the blockchain must have the signature and the hash, or let me say it must have the hash of the previous block, and that is how the link continues. The new one has the hash of the old ones, and they are joined like that continuously. This continuous chain is what we call the blockchain. All right, so the Waves node is a software just like every other software application. It is coded, it was coded actually, it was written with a programming language. And like you can see on this picture here, a single cube here represents the node. All right, and a single node here and a single node here, as you can see, they are all joined together, and these nodes have exact copy of transactions. As you can see, this one of the criteria of the Waves node is that it ensures that data synchronizes between all the nodes. The data here is the same thing that is here, is the same thing that is here, is the same thing that is here, and it's the same thing that is here. This is what ensures data integrity with the Waves blockchain. All right, so we have two different versions of the Waves node. I said the Waves node is a software and it was built with a programming language. The first version there is the Scala. There's a Scala version for Waves node. You can look that up on Google. Scala is a statically typed programming language, and the file that you can find to execute or to run the Waves node on the Scala version is a jar file. Okay, just like every software has an extension on which is used for that it can be used to execute it. Like on the Android users, the format is .apk. That is the compiled format. All right, iOS is .ipa. All right, and on your Windows is .exe. So the Scala version of Waves node is executed with a jar file, and the second version of the Waves node was programmed and built with Go, and it contains a binary file for execution. Okay, let's look at quickly on how to start a Waves node. In this case here, we are using an example whereby we are running the node with a Docker container. Now, at the bottom, at the description of this video, I'm going to drop a link for you where you will see a complete tutorial on how to install a node. It is a very, very long process, and we can't explain all on this video. Just to help you have a proper understanding of how it works, I will drop you a link to see the step-by-step guides on installing and starting your own node. But briefly, the entire process is just summarized in these few steps. You launch the jar file, run the Docker container, install and run from the .db file, then you install from the apt repository. Remember, Waves is an open source system. So as new changes are made on the blockchain, these changes are also updated on the source code. Okay, now quickly let's look at the Waves node configuration. This is very, very important because this is what determines the behavior of the Waves node. Now when you look closely to the Waves to the Waves node repository, you can check that on GitHub. You will find a lot of files, different files. Like I said, the Scala version, you find a lot of source codes, a lot of packages that makes up the entire Waves node. But now we are going to be talking about the configuration file, which is application.conf. So this file is what determines how the node runs. It is in this file that the parameters, the rules, and the structure of the Waves blockchain is determined. Now, the Waves node configuration file is described in HOCON format. You can look that up on Google. It's a format just like JSON, only with comments and ability to have multiple files, and no less important, with fewer codes. This is quite technical, but let's go straight to the point. The Waves node, there are a lot of files. As I said, there are a lot of files there. And I said we are looking at the application.config. This is the configuration file. You will find these files on the Waves node. You file all of this there. But what we are going to be looking at majorly on this application configuration file is Waves. That is why the other ones are faded, because this is where we are focusing on as we are talking about the Waves blockchain. And we will see how these configurations affect the behavior of the Waves node. Also, it's important for you to know that the Waves node is ever improving. In our previous video, we talked about how new features keeps coming to the blockchain. So, looking at the fact that the Waves node synchronizes, it makes sure that the entire node on the network are all the same. So, a node is just a duplicate of the main Waves node. Now, you as a community member that wants to run a node, you don't have a separate file. No, your own node is just a duplicate copy of the Waves node, and the entire network have exact the same copies. So if we have 400 nodes now on the Waves blockchain, the entire node holds exact duplicate of information. There is no difference. This is what ensures integrity, like I said. So the Waves configuration file, the configuration file for the Waves node can change. As new features are coming in, new parameters, new elements are being added, this file cannot be static. Okay, now let's look at quickly some parameters. There are a lot of parameters on the configuration file, but these ones are very crucial, and I will add you a link whereby you can read up other details about the configuration file. But first, we'll be looking at the DB parameter and how does it affect the operation of the Waves node. On the DB parameter, it is what is used to determine which file to save. In a way, it helps to control the size of the node. Okay, it helps to determine the files to keep and the files not to keep, to ensure that space is saved on the Waves node. Another one there, the second one, oh sorry, I made a mistake in my numbering. The second one there is the network. What is this parameter used for? The parameter is where the rules on how nodes communicate to each other is defined. That's what this parameter is for. Remember, there are different miners on the network. Now, when you mine a node, when you mine a block, this block is added to the blockchain, and through the Waves node, that block has to be synchronized so that every other nodes on the network can have that copy of transaction you as a noder has validated. So on this network parameter, it is where you define how nodes can interact with each other. Okay, so on the wallet parameter, is where you set up the account, the Waves account, and the seed of the Waves node. Remember that as a node signs transaction, and transactions that are signed only with the seed. So this is where you set up the Waves address for the node, and this is where the reward for mining blocks go to. And also this is where you set up your seed Actually, these seeds are encoded once they are being set up on the configuration file. Okay, so the next one there is where you define which of the nodes that is at work. This parameter, there are just three blockchain states, blockchains here we can define. The mainnet, which is where the real life money is spent, the real waves is spent, and real activity goes on. We have the stage net, where features are experimented before they come to the mainnet. And we have the test net, which is used for testing purposes, like developers or anyone building the apps, just to make sure you don't spend the real waves. And any mistake you make will not lead to loss of funds or bring in any kind of risk. So the test net is going to be used for debugging and stuff like that. The stage net for testing of features before moving them to the mainnet, and the mainnet is where the real thing happens. So on the blockchain parameter, that is where you can be able to state which of them you want. Is it mainnet, stage net, or the test net? All right. So the next one we have there is the miner. This miner parameter just is the one in charge of generating new blocks, and by default every node is set to generate blocks. But this is what happens. Remember, Waves is a proof of stake blockchain, and you need 1,000 waves to mine a block, not to run a node. So you can run a node. By default, this feature, this parameter is on. So any node that is up is by default supposed to mine a node, supposed to mine a block. But the proof of stake of Waves blockchain is set in a way that the account that is here in 4, the account that is set to a Waves node must have up to 1,000 waves before you can mine a block. Remember, it's proof of stake. The more you stake, the more you have the chances of mining blocks. Okay. The REST API, this is, developers knows this very well. It is inbuilt into the Waves node, and by default, for security reasons, it is disabled. All right. It is what allows you to make HTTP requests to receive data from the Waves node or to write data from the Waves node. There are two sides. They have a public writing. You can get information. You can pull data out of the Waves node through a public means, and you can also pull or write data to it with an API key if you are the node owner. Okay. Then the next feature we have there is the synchronization parameter. All right. This is what controls the average block time on the Waves blockchain. Okay. Now, the next one is UTS. In our future videos, we will have an opportunity to explain this in depth. But just check the description of this video. I'll drop you a link to help you get around any information you might have missed in the course of the video. But this UTS parameter is in charge of controlling unconfirmed transactions. Remember that when transaction comes into the blockchain, the different transactions are confirmed by the Waves node, and these transactions are compiled. There can be 10 transactions in a block. So it is this UTS that controls the number of unconfirmed transactions. It is what directs it. It is in this UTS you can determine, I don't want there to be more than 10,000 unconfirmed transactions on this node. All right. Then the next one there is features. The Waves blockchain, for example, like we said in our video earlier this week, that nodes and miners are able to propose features. Okay. Now, any feature that is proposed, once they are activated on the Waves blockchain, they are controlled through this feature. Through this feature. Feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, feature 4, feature 5, and all of that. Now, it is through this parameter you determine features that are enabled or disabled on a Waves node. Then the next one we have there is rewards. This is where the reward for mining a block is determined. Remember, it is a configuration file. So whatever data, whatever information that are imputed here, it is what will determine the behavior of the Waves node. And here, the last one we have here is the extensions. Extensions here is to control they are plugins that works with the Waves node. So it with this it is with this extension parameter you can say I want this plugin to work on my node. I don't want this plugin to work. Okay, don't forget the Waves node is a software. Now quickly, we talked about the Waves NG. We said it is the protocol that enables Waves to facilitate speedy transaction and still retain decentralization. And it was coined from the Bitcoin NG, although it was never implemented on Bitcoin, but Waves had to implement it on their own blockchain. The NG there stands for next generation, and it came into Waves blockchain in late 2017. All right, so the Waves NG is a very important feature on the Waves blockchain, because this is what makes the Waves blockchain to be fast and responsive. But how does it do it? How is it possible? How does it affect the Waves speed? It does it because it is responsible of how mining takes place. Okay, we are going to have this come up on our next video that is coming. But quickly, how does the Waves NG improve the Waves blockchain? First, it affects how blocks are generated, and also it affects how nodes communicate with each other. These two features are the two ways that the Waves NG protocol helps to improve the speed and the responsiveness of Waves blockchain. Thank you guys for staying with us, and we are having an upcoming in our next videos. We'll be talking on how mining works, what happens behind the scene when the node is running. Okay, thank you for staying with us, and we hope to see you in our next video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check the description side, and you'll find every information and the PDF version of this video. Thank you guys. See you next time.